Wouldn't it be nice to have several thought leaders in your industry know and love your brand? Start a podcast. Invite your industry's thought leaders to be guests on your show and start reaping the benefits of having a network full of industry influencers. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm Jonathan Green.
And I'm James Carberry.
Let's get into the show. Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. Today we are joined by Tukan Das. He is the CEO and co-founder at Leadsift. Tukan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jonathan.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. We're going to be talking today about the top challenges that B2B marketers are facing in 2017. I can't believe we're already more than halfway through 2017. I have no idea where the time has gone, but yep. Leadsift has actually done some fantastic work. This is a survey that Leadsift did themselves. But before we get into today's topic, maybe you can tell our listeners a little about what you and your team at Leadsift are up to these days.
Sure thing. So thanks for the opportunity, Jonathan, to be on the show. Super excited. At a super high level, Leadsift is a sales intelligence platform that helps other B2B software companies identify target accounts and prospects based on signals of intent. And just for providing some context for the audience, is we actually built this product out of a frustration we had internally at Leadsift with our previous product when we were doing, I guess, outbound prospecting. So where we had a BDR team whose job was to do outbound prospecting based on sort of building a list based off static buyer persona. So we said, company size, industry, job title, let's go ahead, find a bunch of people, get their email address, phone number, and then nurture them and book meetings. Very standard to what everyone in the industry was doing. But what we realized was that just because someone had a job title at a target company did not necessarily mean they were interested in our business or in the buying journey at the moment. And as a result, they would never get back to us. So just out of that frustration that we experience of, spraying and praying and hoping that someone will open the email and get back to us, that's when we decided to build Leadsift first for ourselves and then decided to scale it for other software companies and completely pivoted our business into that, is to help them identify, I guess, target accounts and prospects to go after every day, not based on just firmographic data, but actually based on signals of intent and interest. And the way we define a signal of intent in a B2B setting is based on how these prospects are engaging with their competitors, engaging with other complementary companies, or engaging with relevant industry content across the web. So anytime we see someone talking to your competitor or researching on something relevant to your business, we pick that up. We qualify those people by seeing where they work, what their job title is, and if that's a match, we send them that information every day to follow up with them.
Well, that's fantastic, and I love the fact that it was sort of born of a problem that you yourselves were experiencing, and you created the solution. So it's certainly solving a very real problem.
Absolutely, yeah. Like we say, we are the biggest customers of ourselves, and we know it works for ourselves. So, and that gives us a lot of confidence. So yeah, it's definitely a big problem.
Well, that's fantastic. And sort of as a result of sort of your success and the people that you are able to talk to through your business, you actually have done this survey of SaaS marketers, and you've sort of compiled this data around the top challenges that B2B marketers are facing in 2017. So, sort of take it away. What are we talking about today?
Yeah. So the way we collected this was very interesting. In our discovery call, we try to understand our prospects' current process. And one of the questions we specifically asked them is, what's one of the top challenges that you are facing right now as a B2B SaaS marketer? And they all start saying, different problems. There are a few things that and we collected this data over interviewing about 300 B2B SaaS marketers. Few things that we learned from that process. The number one thing that marketers told us was, having top of the funnel leads is a number one priority for them, is getting these top of the funnel leads so that there is so that their sales team can create enough sales opportunities from them was one of the top challenges for over 25% of the people that we talked to. So that was an interesting thing that we found. So that's one thing.
And when they're talking about these sort of top of funnel leads, I mean, was this a volume problem? Was this a quality problem? I mean, did they clarify? I mean, of course it would be fantastic to have more top of funnel leads, but sometimes it doesn't. If they're not qualified, it still doesn't solve the problem.
Absolutely. One of the things that we are seeing is both marketers and sales team and organizations in general are moving away from this whole notion of more volume means better data. Whenever they mean top of the funnel or any stage of the funnel leads, they're talking quality over volume. But even with higher quality, they still need more relevant leads at the top of the funnel. Obviously, you cannot completely qualify them until you have a sales call with them. But from a marketer's perspective, they want to give the best quality lead to the salesperson, from which they will have the salespeople can have a meaningful conversations with.
Yep.
There is the main thing that we found out was no one cares about, I don't think marketers care about having, we got 10,000 leads that we can send emails to or nurture into. No one cares about that. That metric doesn't matter at all. It is, when they say top of the funnel, it's still top of the funnel, but relevant people and relevant organizations that they want to nurture and then hand it over to the sales team to further qualify these people.
Interesting. Yeah. And you said that was over 25% of every marketer saying that was their number one concern. So
number one concern. Yeah.
What were some of the other concerns? What were some of the other problems that they're facing in 2017?
So one of the things that we are starting to see, and the whole industry is talking about, this whole account-based marketing strategy. So over a significant fraction of people talked about that they're starting to implement account-based marketing. Mm-hmm. Again, account-based marketing might mean a lot of things, but at a super high level, it's basically identifying a list of target accounts to go after, and then only focusing on those accounts from a variety of different sources: sales, marketing, relationships, and all those things, ads, emails, social selling, phone calls, things like that. That was one of the big challenges for them. And specifically without account-based marketing, one of the things they wanted to figure out is to come up with the right accounts to go after in their account-based marketing model. Typically, it's still a combination of, salespeople saying, hey, within my territory, these are the companies that I think I care about. And then marketing vets it and then decides to go after them and comes up with a strategy. So one is coming up with the right accounts to go after. Second is, once they have identified or sort of shortlisted the target accounts, is getting intelligence within these accounts to basically use that as a trigger. Because just because you have 100 good companies that you've decided to go after doesn't mean that, you still need a hook to approach them, right? An angle. So that's why they want more intelligence into those named accounts. So that was another challenge that they talked about.
Yep. And I'm looking at the list that you were able to share with me ahead of time, and it's not even just finding the right accounts and gathering information on those accounts, but also you had said finding even the right decision maker within those larger organizations is also a challenge.
100%. And I'll give you a real example. So let's say you are going after a company like Unilever or someone massive like Pepsi or something. And if you say, hey, we only want to talk to folks within Pepsi, and I know we sell into the marketing department, I'll bet you there's probably 500 people in Pepsi that are in senior marketing roles. And you can take any Fortune 500 companies. Now that becomes very challenging, because how do you know who to reach out to for your specific product and when and with what angle? You can find some information about LinkedIn from LinkedIn and different sources, but that becomes a big challenge, because just knowing that I want to go after marketing people within a large organization is you're setting yourself up for an account-based strategy or any kind of strategy. You really need to know who to reach out to within that organization, and that's a challenge these people mention. In addition to that, there's something interesting that they tell us about is, so let's say they broadly define their buyer persona. They say, we typically sell through marketing. Sometimes when they're using a system like ours or for any other intelligence source, sometimes they find, one classic example I remember was their buyer persona was, I believe, more on the creative side of people. They were targeting, creative directors and folks like that within organizations. But what they found out was the people that were engaging with relevant industry content and their competitors were actually senior folks from product team, not so much creative team. That was a very interesting insight for them to say, I know this company is a fit, but it's actually not the creative guys. It's actually the product people, or maybe it's both. So that figuring out which department to go after and who to reach out to within the department is still a challenge for companies, specifically if they're going after larger accounts.
Yep. That's a problem we've seen even firsthand in our own business. Is you're speaking to a pain point that I myself have experienced. Yeah. So I know that other marketers have also experienced that same problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what about this idea of competitive intelligence?
Yeah. So one of the things that when we talk to customers, one of the things they say is based on, all companies, they are always, worried about losing out to a competitive deal, right? They're always worried about that's something that they're always paranoid about, not missing out, losing out to a deal. But what's a bigger problem for them, though, they have said is a lot of the times they wouldn't even know that a competitor is talking to a customer, because what they tell us is, if they could be during that buying consideration phase with their competitor, they might have a better feature set, better price point, or what a better solution overall that they could win over that deal. But a lot of the times they are not even aware that, the client is in a buying mode and is talking to a competitor. Obviously they don't like losing out a deal, but what they fear more is not even knowing that there was a deal and they could have taken part in it. So that's a big concern for them. They're like, we win all our competitive deals, or majority of them. So if we cannot be in front of a customer who's looking to buy and talking to a competitor, is a big loss for them. So that's the, I guess, fear of missing out on competitive deals.
Yep. And how about this fifth challenge, talking about, actually measuring marketers and their impact?
I think this is a big high level item in general. It is what the industry is going. So previously marketers were not always accountable for revenue or the return on investment. They were like, all right, marketing's function is to increase brand awareness, more website traffic, and people filling out the form. Yeah. It really doesn't matter how many of them contributed to sales, because at the end of the day, it was sort of the sales is priority. Now what we are seeing is a lot of marketers are saying, every action, every dollar that we are spending needs to be tied into an ROI that would be, measured by some hard metrics, not some soft numbers by saying, hey, we increased website traffic by 50%, or we increased our social following by 10K followers.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Or we put together a very, beautiful campaign.
There you go. Or we attended an event. Great. Do all of those things, but one of the things that the higher level management is saying is, you have a fixed budget, you spend it, but that needs to be tied into an impact on sales that are the bottom line. That's a general trend that we are seeing. I would say the ABM strategies, generating top of the funnel leads and all those things, those are manifestations of that priority being put into the marketers, is saying it needs to be tied into they need to show that it's working. Yeah. It's contributing to sales. That's a challenge that some marketers pointed out.
Yeah. A level of accountability. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? I have to show actual results now. No, I'm marketing. You don't understand. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. But one interesting thing that I found out was, though, marketers, all of them, they were not scared of that. In the sense they were not worried that they have to do that. They, at least to the ones that we spoke to, the attitude that they had was, this was a challenge, and they're like, this is part of the job. Like, they have to do that, and they're taking up that challenge in a very positive way. And that's why they're coming up with optimal strategies, getting an edge on anything they can, but they're not freaking out. There might be some old school marketers who are not used to this, but majority of these people that we spoke to are pretty savvy, and they're not scared of that fact. They're actually looking forward to that.
Oh, well, that's good to know. So, Tukan, this has been some incredible, insight into the challenges that are facing all marketers. I think every single one of these our listeners are listening and thinking, yeah, I've experienced that. I have a problem with that. So certainly this seems right on the money. Now, if any of our listeners are interested in following up with you, like, learning a little bit more about these problems or even potential solutions that, I'm sure, they kind of go hand in hand. For every problem, someone is out there creating a solution to help ease that pain point. So if anyone is interested in following up with you, learning more about Leadsift, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
The best way would be just go to leadsift.com. There's a simple form for you guys to fill out. But basically, the way we work with all our customers is we lead with the data. So they basically fill out a form where they list some of their competitors. And based on that, we actually, when we have the first call with them, we do the discovery call and then show them some sample leads for them to take a look at it and say, hey, these are some accounts that, are showing intent by talking to my competitors. So I probably want to get in front of them. So that would be the best way to reach out. Like, go to the website. There is lot of content. Fill out the form. Someone will, get in touch with you within 24 hours and have a chat. That's one. The other is, you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can send me, any of your audience, feel free to send me an email at tdas@leadsift.com. It's TDAS@leadsift.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions and just share some best practices. So we work with over 100 companies in the B2B software space, and we are learning some amazing tactics and strategies they're using. More than happy to share with the rest of the audience.
That's fantastic. Tukan, thank you so much again for your time today. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Jonathan. Have a great day.
To ensure that you never miss an episode of the B2B Growth Show, subscribe to the show on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. This guarantees that every episode will get delivered directly to your device.
If you or someone you know would be an incredible guest for the B2B Growth Show, email me at jonathan@sweetfishmedia.com and let us know. We love connecting with B2B executives, and we love sharing their wisdom and perspective with our audience.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.